Anxious to start the day, Thomas wakes up early for a morning walk, hoping to catch Mushum on a stroll. Thomas sits down on the step to eat some breakfast and waits for Mushum. He munches on a piece of bannock and tries to remember the names of all the mountains as Mushum taught him. Mushum knew the names of all the mountain ranges and the stories behind them. Thomas always loved Mushum's stories and tried to remember every word. Then the door opens behind him, and he stuffs the last piece of bannock in his mouth so he and Mushum can go on their walk. But when he turns around, he doesn't see Mushum. The only person standing there is his sister Lily.
Lily, what are you doing up already?
Thomas says, disappointed.
I want to come for a walk too,
says Lily. Thomas just wants some time alone with Mushum. Lily is always around at home. He can't believe he has to share his time at Mushum and Cookham's with her too. Thomas starts his walk and decides to make this walk a lot longer than usual. This way, maybe Lily will give up and leave him alone for a while. He walks down the trailhead past Cookham's smokehouse. Lily lags behind, picking nuts and adding them to a string. She's making a regalia necklace to wear at the powwows. Thomas walks way ahead, ignoring Lily. At times she can't see him and has to run to catch up.
Thomas, slow down. I need more nuts for my necklace,
Lily ordered. She holds her string of nuts out for him to see.
You're not even doing it right.
Thomas scowls as he stomps along the path. Lily watches him walk away. Why does Thomas always think she does everything wrong? What do boys know about necklaces anyway? She decides that maybe she's better off without him. As Thomas walks down the path, he notices broken branches on the ground. He looks way up into the trees and sees that lots of branches are broken. Many of them are much higher than a bear could reach, even on its hind legs. Something big must have been walking through the trees, thinks Thomas, and that something big might still be nearby. Thomas turns to tell Lily to stay close, but she's nowhere to be seen.
Great,
Thomas says to himself.
When you don't want her around, there she is. And when you do, she takes off.
Meanwhile, Lily picks nuts and flowers, and anything else that catches her eye, until she makes her way down to the beach. Then she sees something that makes her drop everything. A giant footprint.
Thomas, come here. Look what I found. Thomas.
But Thomas, who is still annoyed at her for tagging along, decides to look around for the bear instead. As she stands in the footprint, Lily starts to giggle. She is amazed that her foot is barely the size of one of the toes.
Thomas, you should come see this.
Thomas carefully makes his way down the rocks towards the beach. He grips the rocks with each step so he won't slip. As he gets closer to the beach, he reaches out to balance himself and grabs a handful of fur. Thomas cries out as he falls to the sand, landing at the feet of the huge creature. Lily runs toward the sound, yelling her brother's name.
Lily, stay back!
Thomas yells. As usual, Lily doesn't listen. She wants to get a good look at the furry giant they stumbled upon. Thomas decides to be brave and remembers being told to make himself big to scare animals away. So Thomas gets up, reaches his arms to the sky, waves them back and forth, and screams and growls as loud as he can. But the giant doesn't flinch, and instead shrieks loudly right back at Thomas. Thomas falls back into the sand. Lily thinks for a moment, and then starts to sing a song. The giant looks at her.
Lily, what are you doing? Be quiet!
Thomas shushes.
Maybe he's just scared.
Lily sings.
When I'm scared, Mommy sings me a song.
Suddenly, from behind Thomas, there is a loud crash of broken branches. A much larger giant appears out of the woods. Thomas then realizes that he's standing between a baby and a mom. But not just any baby and mom, a giant baby and an even more gigantic mom. Thomas decides the best thing to do is to quietly sneak away. But Lily wasn't about to go anywhere. She notices that the baby giant's foot is tangled in some brush. She starts to shake her regalia necklace, the nuts clapping together like a rattle.
There, it will be okay,
says Lily, and the baby begins to quiet down. She hands the baby the necklace, and as he plays with it, she gently pulls the brush from around his foot. The mom watches Lily closely, so Thomas slowly moves toward Lily to protect her. When the baby is free, he jumps up and runs towards his mother, hanging on to his new toy. Happy to be reunited, the two giants disappear into the woods as Thomas and Lily look on. Lily's face beams as she watches them.
Bye, giants!
She yells.
Lily, that was a very dangerous thing you did.
Thomas tells her seriously. Lily's smile disappears, but then Thomas changes his tone.
But Mush'em and Cookem will be proud. I think you might have saved us both.
Thomas and Lily head back towards Mush'em and Cookem's house, walking together, reliving their adventure. On the way, they bump into Mush'em, who is out looking for them.
We were wondering where you two went.
Mush'em says, smiling at the two of them.
Cookem has breakfast ready. Let's get you two back home and you can tell me about all the trouble you got into.
Mush'em starts leading Thomas and Lily home. Lily tells Musham about their adventure with the big creature, the necklace, the song, and most importantly, how she saved Thomas.
Sounds like you saw Sasqu'ets, or what some people call Sasquatch. They came from these mountains.
Musham tells them.
The Sasqu'ets are very powerful and only show themselves to people who are very special. A long time ago, the Squirlam would go deep into the woods to gain the power of full Squirlam. They would stay in the woods and do ritual sweats. Then they would go to the river and bathe, hoping to become pure, and in time they could gain the powers of a full Squirlam. When they had finally gained their powers, they would return home, but not all of them would make it back. Some people think the Sásq'ets are the Squirlam who are still trying to find their powers. Some families believe that the Sásq'ets are their ancestors who never returned home. But it looks like you two actually found a baby who needed some help.
Musham says. Back at the house, Cookham has breakfast ready. As they eat, Thomas thinks about their adventure.
Musham, can we leave something for the Sasquatch?
Asks Thomas. After breakfast, Thomas takes a piece of dried salmon from Cookham's smokehouse. He climbs up his favorite climbing tree and ties the salmon high so no other animals can get to it. That night, Thomas and Lily lay in bed, unable to sleep. Thomas sighs.
Lily, I want to thank you. I wouldn't have seen the Sasquatch if you hadn't found the footprint. And I might have been in real trouble if you hadn't helped that baby.
Lily looks at Thomas, her eyes wide.
Do you think we'll ever see them again?
Thomas doesn't know how to answer Lily. But then they hear the faint clapping of Lily's necklace outside. They know it had to be the Sásq'ets coming to get the salmon that Thomas left for them.